guys, welcome back to another episode of Not Afraid to Garden. It is another wonderful day, so I wanted to take advantage and just bring something from outside of the garden here. So what a better project to bring to you than composting. Again, composting, you're helping the environment, you are recycling a lot of items, materials, food scraps and all that other stuff that you could be using to feed your plants. And if you're for outside, it's wonderful to create this compost for your flower beds. So I've started composting probably about, I want to say maybe like 2 years ago. Now, I have this large container. Now there are 3 types of composting. There's cold composting, there's hot composting, and there's vermi composting. And each one requires different ways to be able to compost. So I'm doing the cold process of composting. And this one for me is the easiest, and it's what works for me here. So for the cold composting, again, it just requires a container. And actually I have this plastic container that my son-in-law left here many years ago. He used this to, I guess, store some heating and air conditioning stuff. So I decided to recycle it, and I brought it back here. And the way I got started was I just threw in some materials on the bottom. I used wood, not pressure treated wood, nothing with chemicals on there. I used leaves on the bottom. Again, that was how I started. And I used some fruit and vegetable scraps. What else did I start with? So that's pretty much of what I use here. And then through time, again, as I cut the grass, we use that, we feed it to the compost here. Any of the my food scraps, and actually it's a good idea to even use anything that's expired in your refrigerator that you can throw to the compost and recycle it here, rather than some of those items, sometimes sending it to your local area where you dispose a lot of this stuff. So why not use it on your compost? So what I do, again, so this actually works wonderful for me. Now I'm using it in a larger scale because I am outside and I have the space. But you can do this at home in a small container, in a bucket, so you can compost from inside your house and outside, small containers to larger containers. Now you have to actually figure out how to use this food, this waste, in your compost, because if you don't do it the right way, you're going to have a smelly compost that it's not going to be appealing. So again, because I'm doing this outside, I can use this large container here. Now I've been composting for about, I say, like 2 years now. So from the bottom, from this section here to all the way to the bottom down here, I already have rich soil that I use on my flower pots and for to use on some of my flower beds. And as you can see, the top layer here are leaves, cuttings that I throw in here. And then again, I wanted to show you just an example of what I compost in here. And these are things that are coming from inside the house. I've got orange peels, I've got leaves that are falling off some of the plants, I've got banana peels, I've got eggshells. Although, you know, those won't decompose for a while, but they're good to use. And I've got, you know, some broccoli and pieces of lettuce and watermelon, the peels. So again, you can actually start to collect these in a plastic container, put it in the freezer, and you can keep it in your freezer so that way it doesn't smell and it won't decompose quickly. And then once you're ready to put it in your compost bin, and then you can take it out your freezer and then bring it out and place it in there. So that's a way of not having to come in and out of the house all the time. So again, I use these scraps, and then I just, again, I throw them in my container here, just like this. I do wash the bag and then just recycle it. So I will do that in a little bit. And then again, just blend in all of your scraps in here with your leaves and everything else that you have in here. Anytime, again, this will decompose. And actually, I was checking in here to check all the way to the pile to where my soil is, my rich soil. And again, there are worms in there that are, again, eating this waste. That, again, the more of the worms that you have in here, once they release, you know, what they're eating, again, that becomes something that's nutrition for your soil. So they are helping you to maintain this soil in here. So as I have my scraps on the top here, if you come in a little closer, I will show you again. Look at that rich soil there. And this all looked like this. Again, because this has decomposed already. So when I'm ready to use that, I will just push this off to the side and I will take out that rich soil and use that soil. So that is my compost bin that I have out here. What's nice about it is that I have this little window here, this little door, and it locks in there, so that way I can open it and close it. So again, if you can get your hands on something like this, it would be ideal. Again, I cover this up also when it's raining, and just so that way not too much of the water gets in here. So this is how I do my composting. And again, it works, guys, because again, I've got that rich soil all the way on the bottom of this, which I am ready to use already. So you have to, again, allow time if you're going to start this from the beginning. And this should take, you know, probably you'll have something available probably within the next year or so, once you start to do the composting. But again, you're recycling a lot of this waste that you're not putting in your trash, that you're not smelling in your trash, and you are using it for your plants, in which you will see the difference again, you know, once you start to use that soil for your plants. And I think it's beneficial for me because of the volume that I use. I go through a lot of soil, and this is just a wonderful way to be able to get that medium without having to, you know, I can purchase those other soils and everything, but what better way than create your own. So go out there and start, you know, start composting your scraps, but you can do it at a smaller scale rather than a larger scale like this if you don't have the room. Again, I did it more out of the way, so my garden is in the front that way. I put it behind the greenhouse because, to be honest, guys, composting is not it's not beautiful. It's not something that you definitely want to just see in your garden. So if you can place it maybe somewhere that it's not that visible from your garden, that way you don't have to worry about it. Or you can plant maybe larger plants around it, maybe on a three-way area like this, on the sides and the front, and then just leave one side open where you can put your compost in there, and then no one will have to see this. So hope you guys have learned a little bit about composting, and again, it's working for me, and I'm sure that you can make it work for yourself also. So thanks again, guys, for checking out my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so you can be notified again the videos of coming, you know, what's coming up next. And thank you again. Have a wonderful weekend. And you know what, it's starting to look like spring a little sooner than what I thought. I even seen some of my lilies coming up, so that's a little scary, because if frost comes, I'm just afraid that it could, you know, do some damage to some of those plants. So we'll see what's going to happen. But thank you guys for checking out my channel, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.